Hello, everybody. Today is January 31st, 2022, and I've just spent approximately a week up in Heber Springs, Arkansas at an Airbnb. And I was invited 2 hours away from Hot Springs in order to have a safe place to rest, or so I thought. And this always happens. I'm not really sure why Bumble dating is like this, why men on there, even the pictures that I post up of myself, there's a lot of them I don't have any makeup on, and I put on there that I'm just seeking places to crash, safe places to crash, and I'm not looking for anything sexual at this time. And you would think that me promoting myself in such a way, people wouldn't try to take advantage of someone, and yet they just don't care. It's either that they want to get in trouble or they just don't have the mentality to get past their primal urges. So they're just very simplistic in the brain. And I get this 99.99% of the time. Most men cannot go beyond a certain point without thinking sexual thoughts about anyone that they're engaging with. And I've known that my entire life, that there's something wrong with me, apparently, because men can't get beyond the fact that I have breasts, the fact that I have a nice smile, the fact that I have nice eyes. So they place all those things together and presume that I'm hitting on them for some reason. I don't know. Even my own brother did it. My father did it. All these other people that have, manipulated me and sexually abused me in such a way. So I try to warn people about some of these circumstances, some of these times where, like, I thought I was going to be safe because I was being completely honest. And you'd think honesty comes first in this reality that we live in order to get by. You have to do the right thing. You have to, have integrity and stand by your word. Well, a majority of these men that invite me to their homes, they don't think prior to inviting me. They don't think about the consequences of inviting a random stranger to their house because they presume, because they didn't read the profile, for one. They don't know how to read, a majority of them. They're that incompetent. They will, out of all honesty, they'll say, I thought your profile was a joke. And I put on there, don't want to talk about the domestic abuse that I've sustained on there. Like, I literally place every bit of information to seek compassion, to seek empathy, to seek people that are, that have material items that they're willing to share with someone that is down on their luck. And instead I get all these men that think that they're going to take advantage of me. And a majority of the time I get away scot-free. I end up teaching them a lesson. And as it should be. Every woman should be able to teach a man a lesson and not have fear for her overall well-being and the emotional and psychological well-being that comes with having to deal with pathological liars, narcissists, and egomaniacs, like all of these people are. So I showed up at this dude's place, and he kept telling me, what's the ETA? What's the ETA? And I was driving from 2 fucking hours away, and I told him approximately the time that I was going to be there. So he was interrupting me as I was driving and expecting responses. And I don't know why people are so ignorant to presume that they need so much more than the person that is put in danger over having to deal with them. They just don't get it. That's how narcissistic and egotistical they are. So I get here, and I sit outside of his house, the Airbnb that he said is for, his sister's Airbnb, whatever. He said I could crash here safely. He said we would hang out, whatever. And I get here and I'm stuck outside for 10 minutes. Yes, it's freezing weather right now. So I just climbed in the back of my car. I've driven 4 hours, and he promised me a safe place. He said that I could have it until like the end of the month. That's as long as he was going to be here. and I could stay here that long. And, you know, if things worked out between him and I told him, I was like, well, that's cool. That's awesome, because I'm not naive. A majority of the time, men want sex immediately. And not just immediately, like they want it that first day, but then they'll also push and push and push days after. And if you don't offer them anything, then you mean nothing to them. That's how selfish these men are. That's how, and I say men, because men have the sexual primal urge to want to reproduce with numerous women. It's not women that are going around with that mentality, that flip of a switch saying, oh my God, I need to get knocked up by Tom, Dick, Bob, Harry, and whatever. No, a majority of the time that happens to a woman after she's already been traumatized by men. And she's not seeking those sexual deviancies like they are. So, anywho, here I am chilling in this dude's place. He's not here right now, mind you. He and I had hung out that first evening. It was fairly late, and I told him, I said, I don't really stay up this late. I'm going to brush my teeth. And he had a secondary room his house was trashed. He said he'd only been here for a week, and there's roaches for one. There was food strewn everywhere. There was just trash all over the floor, clumps of hair, dirt, all that stuff. Disgusting, right? And then when I saw the roach, I was like, oh my God, no. Like this is a nice house, and you're smoking cigarettes in your sister's Airbnb? And he was like, oh yeah, there's not an issue with that. Excuse me, if it were my place, if I were offering it to a bum brother like you that doesn't do shit with his life and he's on drugs, I would definitely not want you destroying my property in order to get your rocks off. Because that's not okay. That's enabling you. So if I were your sister, I'd have kicked your ass out already because of the fact that you were partying and he was blaring his DJ equipment. This man is at least 45 years old, mind you. Still partying. Just got out of a divorce at some point, like he was married for 15 years. So in his mind, he's gone. He's already snapped. And I get that. I understand that. And I know that I put myself in danger by dealing with certain people, because immediately upon engaging with them, they'll place photos on the profile. Okay, I understand. When you get there, majority of the time they're catfishing you, because they'll have photos of themselves from 10 years prior when they're thin. And you get there and they're huge and obese, and then they think that they've got their life put together so well that you should take any advice that they have to offer, which is ridiculous, because nobody should ever take advice of somebody that can't even put their own things together and can't clean up after themselves, can't bathe after themselves. You shouldn't take advice from people that can't manage to sustain themselves daily in a positive way or a healthful way. So this guy immediately offers me shrooms. And I told him, I said, I'd been talking to a woman who told me she'd pay for an abortion for my child. I am now 9.5 weeks pregnant by the rapist that, December 2nd and December 4th, whenever I was raped those days. And I tried to play it off in my mind like they weren't rapes. In my mind, I thought, well, maybe, they liked me so much that they couldn't handle themselves. Bullshit. Every man should be able to handle themselves. And regardless, when I was talking to this 45-year-old, as I was telling him bits and pieces of my trauma, mind you, I don't get dressed up for people because of the fact that I know that if I put any makeup on or do my hair or put anything provocative on, I will get touched and violated. And I know this. So I refuse to expose my beauty to every single individual to try to prove a point. There's no reason to prove a point. If you want to see how beautiful I truly am and how I doll up really nicely, then you can go to my Instagram or my Facebook, and you'll understand that I'm trying to survive, lost 150 pounds, have been working out, eating healthfully through a vegan diet, and I have to repeat these things throughout my videos because I know not everybody knows my entire story. So they pick up pieces here and there, and they wonder if they want to continue to watch. Well, these are videos, regardless, are for my children, from my future children, like for them to understand and acknowledge where their mother has come from and exactly what the traumas and sexual abuse she sustained having to deal with their fathers. So I want everyone to understand that I've really, it's been really difficult for me to try to weigh out my emotional stability, like being able to level it out here and there, because I suffer from post-traumatic stress, complex post-traumatic stress from sexual abuse. So any moment I'll snap. Any moment will bring me back to those moments where I was most vulnerable and people took advantage of me in such a way that I can't replace the innocence that they've removed from my corpse. I say corpse. It's like a walking corpse to me most days, because even last night, because there was no one here, finally, I thought about lighting the gas stove and exploding this fucking house with me inside of it. And I think about these things constantly because, like, my uncle, he had severed a gas line behind his stove, and then when he flipped a switch, it blew him, it like charred him to the ground. This was my Uncle Jose. But my Uncle Jose was also fucking my sister, so that was like inevitably his karma. So that's just how it goes. And my sister, she was in denial of all that, but she was so emotionally distraught in her entire life, she thought that these men loved her. And it's like, no, your relatives aren't supposed to love you sexually like that. We understand through science now that that causes mutant children. So obviously it's not healthy for the child psychologically or overall its physical well-being if it's got these disgusting incestuous features, you know? So anyway, and there's plenty of people that understand they've got health issues, blah, 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 because they were inbred, and now we're recognizing the horrible, the atrocious, you know, detriments to that. And people are recognizing, oh my God, cousin marriages in India and whatever, cousins. No, don't marry your fucking cousin. That's how they ended up with like blind and deaf children over there. Like I was watching a documentary about it, and that's like a majority of these children end up with all these ailments because people are interbreeding with their own kin. What kind of disgusting monsters are you? Like, no wonder my father had it in his stupid brain. His stupid, mind you, daddy. Remember how you didn't let us say that around anybody? You're fucking stupid. And I would tell you to your fucking face, and that's why I spit in your fucking face when I was 17 years old. You punched me down the front fucking steps. I called the police, yet everyone worded everything out so perfectly that the police kicked me out that day. They forced a child out of her home because they didn't want to deal with the fucking having to confront that illegal alien. They went and they took him for questioning. As I told them about the sexual abuse, they said, Augustine Pedro Servin, you're free to go. And I had to be kicked out and homeless at that time. The child that was molested, the victim. So I was forced to grow up much quicker than most people. But since on my record it had stated that I tried to commit suicide at 12 years old over something that didn't happen, everyone didn't believe me. I was 12 years old. My parents coerced me into lying and saying it didn't happen, and yet I'm the one still punished to this day. Because I suffer from this severe post-traumatic stress and I'm in denial of my life. So I live as a hermit. I live as a vagabond because I had everything stolen from me years ago when I tried to reach out at a local community that I thought would understand. But they are so lagging when it comes to psychological care that I really worry about their own mental well-being. Because who does that? I'm the one that calls the police. There's a reason why I'm calling. I have these stressors. I am a disabled citizen, but you need to recognize that I'm not manipulating or lying in any instance. So when I'm hyped up and I'm telling you the fucking truth and you don't want to believe it, that's on you people. That's on you in the U.S. government. That's on the systems that destroyed a perfectly healthy, wonderful little girl that could have been even healthier and more wonderful and had a fucking career by now and done some things with their life, or had the privileges that some of the other children had in the Catholic school that she was forced to go into. But I loved it. It was the only thing my parents ever did for me that I actually appreciated, is that they continually placed me in private schools so that I could be overly educated as I am now. So I can talk down to everyone and understand that they're not comprehensive of the world around them. And I've taken courses, advanced courses at young ages, at the young age that I was. And you're going to tell me I don't know about science and math and this and this and this and getting by in this world around me? No, and I have a heightened spirituality that most people don't even acknowledge. Because I attach here and there to different energies and different frequencies, different vibrations. So immediately, let's get back on track to why I'm here. Let's get back on track to why I spent the evening here and why I have to disclose these things, because it's hilarious to me. So I'm here for 2 days, right? At first. And I've already been here, like I said, a fucking week. So I'm here and I go to bed and I'm trying to understand, like, I'm going to have to clean for this guy because I promised that I would clean up in exchange for having a safe place to crash and a place for me to be able to cook and use the restroom. So we hung out and he offered me shrooms. Yeah, mushrooms, psychedelics. Well, they're good for people with post-traumatic stress. And yeah, I'm not going to lie. I took some fucking shrooms because I knew that in my mind, I'm weighing out whether or not I want to abort this child. But psilocybin, so this is a catch-22 for everyone, is beneficial for me. So when I come across shrooms and people are offering me shrooms, I know that the psilocybin is good for my complex post-traumatic stress, and it's going to help me inevitably with the chemicals that are released in my brain. Okay? So I know it's beneficial for me. Say it's maybe not beneficial for a child growing inside of me, but I'm not going to be dishonest with anyone ever. There should be no reason that I should be reprimanded for trying to survive. There should be no reason that I should be reprimanded for trying not to kill myself and not to slit my wrists, because psilocybin helps me from having those severe urges. And I have felt so much better since I did a microdose that day and even the day after. Just a couple little things. I didn't get too fucked up. And I did the research on an unborn child, and they said that there weren't specific, research done on all of that. So I just want to be open and honest with everyone. If you want to steal my baby for me being honest and smoking weed and everything this and that, when other bitches get away with all kinds of nonsense and doing kind of crack and doing meth and all this and that, and you're going to tell me that I should have it ripped away from me like I'm not a good mother because I'm trying to survive and take care of myself in an appropriated manner? You need to kill yourself, for one. Don't ever step up and try to tell me that I'm a bad mother for trying to survive. So, and I was having mixed emotions about the abortion and this and that, which in actuality, I don't want the abortion. I'm very scared. I'm very lonely. I'm very homeless. And I've been trying to reach out to people for over a fucking year and nobody listens. Nobody wants to help. Nobody wants to reach out for my individual story and tell me this is the paperwork you need to fill out. You can have a home then thereafter. This is the paperwork, this and that. After years and years of being told this paperwork, you need to file this, you need to do this, and all this blah, 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 all these hoops, I wanted to kill myself. There was no reason for me to seek help, because if the help that I was seeking was causing me more mental strain, then it wasn't worth it to me. Yet everybody tells me, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. No, what needs to happen is that the United States government needs to recognize what has happened in my individual story and compensate me accordingly with plenty of money to survive for me and my offspring. Because I have tried to tell people about these instances where I've been sexually abused. And do you know what the attorneys have told me? That I don't have a case because I don't have enough money to start the case. I even called and I spoke to them about the 10 Fitness fiasco where the man came in and saw me fully naked. And you know what the attorneys have told me? That it would cost me money in order to file a suit because it was their negligence and their premises liability that allowed that. I mean, their premises, they're liable for their premises, and it was a layout flaw. Yet there was 2 men that turned the corner within less than 2-day span. So there's 2 men that I witnessed come into the women's bathroom, and everybody thinks that that's just cool. That's kosher. That's cool because that's just how it is. No, that's not how it is. And we should have people like me that end up gaining from it, these horrible instances, as opposed to telling me, you don't have a case, I'm sorry, we would have to do this and this and this. And I tell them, I say, well, what about the psychological and emotional trauma that I've sustained? Oh no, we need physical proof that you've had an issue. Excuse me, what? I tried to kill myself afterward. Is that not physical proof enough for you? Like, that all these things are intertwining in my fucking reality, and every time somebody sexually destroys me in that way, and demeans me and violates me in any way, it causes me to revert back to wanting to harm myself. So if you're gonna tell me that I have to live out my whole fucking life not being able to be compensated for any of the things that have happened to me, I'm literally going to fucking kill myself, and it'll be on everybody. And I will call out every single individual that it forced me into doing that. And that's hilarious because people are like, well, that's what needs to happen. People are weak. They commit suicide. I'm not the weak one. Everybody else is the weak one that has harassed me, and nobody wants to take a victim's side. Nobody wants to pro bono, like, help somebody like me. Oh yeah, we can sue these people. We can sue these people. You know, you need a home. You need something for this new child inside of you. You need help. Instead, they want to say, no, feed off of the fucking slop pens and shit like that, like the pigs. Feed off of that slop. Even though you had your own place for 10 years and you had accumulated quite a bit of things and you had thousands of dollars worth of equipment to raise poodles and everything, and you had poodles, mind you, that weren't dogs. They were my family. So there's a huge difference there. They've stolen so much from me in Hot Springs, Arkansas, that I have no idea what to do, or where to go, or how to act anymore. Because then they started talking to my family and my ex-husband and getting their perspective on me. You're going to tell me people that have never had therapy are going to be more knowledgeable about my interactions, and they don't even acknowledge that the abuse that happened was reactive abuse? Like, I literally only reacted and abused them back in those instances by screaming and yelling and breaking some things because I had had enough. They are so narcissistic, they push me to the brink of rage. And then they captured that for you and then displayed that as if it was my everyday demeanor, which is not. Everybody's known me. They've got video of me in psych wards. I'm the most peaceful person and the sweetest, kindest person that will take time out of her fucking day to listen to your stupid problems. Like, that's how I've always been. Just a random therapist wandering around trying to help people because I know that they're suffering worse than me and they don't even realize it. So I've tried to give my helpful, whatever I've got, my helpful hands. I do it, voluntarily. I help people all the time because I don't really want a job. Why the fuck would I want a job? I wanted a career. I wanted to be a career girl without being fucked, without having to bend over for every man that said, you're pretty. What the fuck? What the fuck kind of day and age is this? I was told when I was a little girl that I could be and do whatever I wanted. I was born in 1987. This should not be going on in 2022, that someone like me still has to sit here and repeat my story and prove all the facts, and yet no one steps up to the plate and says, you know what? We're going to help this girl. She's obviously screaming for justice and freedoms that were hers to begin with, and yet everyone kept it from her. Oh, yeah, that's so true. So back to my story about being here. Back to my story about how I endanger myself and how everybody says, Leticia, if you're so smart, then why don't you this and this and this? Because Leticia has snapped too many fucking goddamn times to fucking count. So that's how it is. That's how it fucking is. If you're not going to literally place it on a silver platter for me anymore, like it should have been when I was a fucking child, then I don't want it. I don't fucking want it. I'm not going to seek it. I'm not seeking out what's not fucking mine and what rightfully belongs to me, which technically is my first child that I bore and breastfed, fed an organic diet, taught baby sign language to, the love of my life, Leticia Collins. And yet everyone presumed that I was the monster. No, you let a man who places this little tiny tootsie, her little body, in shorty shorts and a crop top, and you're gonna tell me that I was the bad parent and that I don't deserve to have full custody? And then you reprimanded me too after he lied to the fucking Social Security disability, and I went without for 5 months, wasn't able to support myself this year, have been living out of my vehicle for over a year. And you're going to tell me that that $4,316 was worth stealing from someone like me? That's nice. That's nice because honestly, you'll get your fucking karma. Everybody will. I did spend way more than $4,316 tending to that child. And if you pump up every fucking drop of fucking milk that I produced for that baby, that's well over that. I sustained that child solely. She never had a bottle. She never had any formula. So what you're telling me is completely incorrect. And I was the one that was changing nearly every fucking diaper. 99% of the fucking diapers she had. And you're going to tell me that I'm not allowed to see this kid unless I get $3,500 in order to start proceedings for visitation for a child that is rightfully and godfully mine? You people are gonna go to hell. Like, and you don't even know who the fuck you're dealing with. I'm so religious in that aspect. I already know you're gonna go to fucking hell for having placed a woman, a victim, through such horrendous stakes like this. Forcing me to be homeless. Forcing me to seek comfort in all these men's arms. Forcing me to find a safe place to stay during a pandemic and everything. And I lost everything prior to that. And my parents don't get reprimanded for shit. My brother, he was bringing around a 16-year-old. He was going through his delusional drug-induced states. And everybody looked at me like I was the crazy one, that I was demanding too much for wanting organic produce, for wanting my poodles, for wanting to be left alone, for wanting my child and being able to raise her financially through, I should have gotten alimony for all the trauma I sustained. Yet everyone took that viable signature that was never notarized and they placed that as truth. You need to get your shit together, Arkansas, because you're obviously lagging. And it's like 50 years, like way, way beyond like my comprehension. I come from Wisconsin. I came and migrated to Arkansas. I thought I would better your systems by helping. I thought I could get an education down here at a better cost. And instead, I racked up $27,000 in student loans, and I still never finished my degree, an Associate of Arts, because I didn't have enough money to support myself at home. I was working 2 jobs, one at Petco and one bartending, because I got cash and was able to support myself in such a way. And yet I'm the one that does things as a deviant, right? Because I didn't acknowledge that and place that on my taxes so you could remove more from me and my taxes. Because you make no sense. A woman down on her luck, not trying to have kids, not trying to have relationships like that. I was doing everything on my own. My ex-husband mooched off of me, destroyed me literally in all aspects, and took everything from me. And you don't see that this should be justified in any way? No one sees that? I'm just confused. Because after years and years of preaching, years and years of asking and seeking for true help, seeking for godly help, what is stipulated here in our amendments and things like that, in our Constitution, and that we should praise that God that connects our connectivity to each other, that oneness. And yet I've never had that. Instead, I'm treated as if I'm trash because whatever files have followed me from Hot Springs stating that I've been a violent, that I have assaulted 2 family members. They literally attacked me, 4 family members from the Collins family. And I was the one beaten, battered, and bruised. And there was proof of it. And they acquitted me of this entire instance. That doesn't appease me. That does not satisfy my soul. They should have gotten reprimanded for physically assaulting me, and they never did. So if your system can't comprehend that, then you're in the wrong and you're going to go to fucking hell. It's the fucking truth. So, like I've said, have some integrity. Stick to your word. You got into that profession to help people like me, not to hurt people like me and cause me more trauma and to judge me in such a way to say that I'm the sociopath. Never have I tried to manipulate a situation like I've been manipulated into. Never. I would have never harmed someone like that. And then when you realize that people are going to such an extreme to keep me and my mouth shut, then you need to step up and do something as the government, as the United States militia, as all of this. What is wrong with you? And then I just get fucked by your military men and that's just okay with you? Not cool. You're gonna get your fucking karma. All of you for not stepping up and defending the people that are weakest, the people that you swore to protect. You are insane, incredulously insane. There's no reason for this. So, like I was trying to get back to my story, yes, I know my hair is always crazy. This is my natural curls. I woke up like this, and I don't really care. I don't like to doll myself up prior to engaging with my emotions because that would be fake. That would be fake. This is me. This is me in the raw. This is me talking. If you got me face to face, I could make you think about things that, I'm just saying. Like, it's the truth. If you had me face to face, I would make you think about your own realm of reality. And it scares people because I show them a piece of themselves that they don't even recognize is there. So I horrify people. And then they turn around and they take it out on me and they say that I'm crazy, which is not true. I know because I see, feel, and I know things beyond what's in my reality here, right? So like this guy, I already knew I was unsafe coming here when he started giving me shrooms and whatever. Then he started talking about ketamine. And then, I found a rolled up dollar bill in his fucking drawer and all this and that, which I wasn't trying to snoop, but that's where some of the stuff was, like the weed. And he had a bunch of weed and whatever, which is cool. Like, I'll smoke the weed a little bit. I don't really like smoking other people's stuff. I think everything should be regulated properly. I don't think that we should be backhandedly doing these types of transactions because then he presumed he was going to get something from me. And I'm like, no, bitch. Like, I'm not going to give you shit for this. Like, for real. Like, you said you wanted to be friendly. You said you wanted to offer it. So if you're going to tell me that I owe afterward, exactly. That's why you need to step up and realize that a lot of these victims too were forced into drug abuse not because of a reason that they wanted to, because they were down on their luck. They were sad and they got addicted to whatever substance was around in order to cope, taking negative coping mechanisms. So anyway, like I stated, you can hate me all you fucking want, and you can try to steal my baby all you fucking want, but I would definitely try to get an attorney at that point, because it seems like regardless of what I've suffered as a victim, you still don't see that. You see me as the monster, and you're still going to try to reprimand me for things I haven't done. It's insane. Like, all the times, like the one time I got forced down to the ground when I was pregnant the first time with that piece of shit's baby. There was no reason for that. I was banging on his fucking door because he had all of my belongings in there. And I had nowhere else to go. I was pregnant with his child and I was 21 years old and I didn't know what to do. So you violated my body that day, Hot Springs police, and shoved me down on the ground and think that I'm not going to remember that shit? You think that I'm not going to remember how traumatic it was dealing with every single officer? You think you think I shouldn't get compensated for this because they're in the right because they have badges? Bullshit. They'll go to fucking hell. They'll go to fucking hell on earth. They'll get their fucking karma. It's true. So anyway, like I was stating, back to this douchebag that I've stayed with for the last week. I was so nice. I told him, I said, I'm so grateful that you're giving me this chance to stay somewhere safe. Thank you very much and whatever. And then he kept trying to interact with me. Well, we were sitting on the couch and I had sat there next to him for a moment as we were chit-chatting and we watched one movie together. And he reaches out and he tries to brush me a little bit because I'd leaned a little bit toward him. And he tried to touch me and I flinched quite a few times. I think he understood at that point, I'm not fucking interested in you. You're disgusting. He was just gross. The whole aspect of it. He chugged he just ate an entire pint of ice cream in front of me. And I tried to explain to him, I was like, do you realize the cholesterol and everything behind all the things that you're eating? No wonder you're not all. And he was going another route saying, no, the drugs will help. The ketamine is going to help me. Excuse me. And he showed me this stupid documentary about some ketamine addict. And I told him, I was like, well, yeah, that's nice. But is this man even successful? Is there a reason behind ketamine that is beneficial? Or is this guy just sitting in his own shit and filth? And it kind of was funny because it's the same shit that this dude was doing. And I'm like, you need to recognize people with drug addictions and abusing themselves like that. That's not helping you. That's just making you stupider. So is frying all the brain cells that you have because you think that these synthetic materials are going to be beneficial for you. And it's the same thing with all these artificial additives and synthetic materials and stuff in food. So whatever, fuck you people. If that's the route you want to fucking go. So I told him, I said, that I wasn't too impressed. And I don't think I would ever try ketamine because it's synthetic. It's man-made. So no, thank you. Gotta get this over with. Okay. So we're hanging out and everything and he goes to bed and that second night he tried to text me at 3 a.m, a photo of his bedroom and told me, you can come and lay in here if you want to. I was asleep, bro. Stay the fuck away from me. I go to people's houses and I expect not to be touched. And people are like, that's demanding too much. These men are stupid and simplistic. I'm sorry. So what you're telling me is since they haven't evolved at this point, they're allowed to have their freedoms yet too? And they're enforcing they're enslaving others underneath them with their own ill prepared mental state, ill established mental state? You're going to tell me that that's okay. Interesting. Okay. Whatevs. Everybody's got their freedoms and everybody's got their rights, Leticia. So that's why pedophiles get away with things. That's why this and this and this. Because technically they're still good people in other aspects. No. No. If you're jacking off to kids and hurting kids like that, you're a demon. And now I understand why we have angels and demons breeding on this earth. Because we have to have that balance. It's fucking horrifying. And if I could put it in poetic terms, people would understand it better. So, this dude, trying to invite me into his bedroom. I'm asleep. By the time I wake up the next morning, he had gone. He had left. So I decided I was going to straighten up the kitchen because the rest of the house was fucking trash. It was disgusting. Clothes everywhere, fucking dog piss on the carpet, fucking all kinds of stuff. It was disgusting. All of a sudden, I see him walk in with another woman. And I'm thinking, he didn't prepare me for this. He didn't say anything about this. And I told him that although I am, homeless, that I'm still, an upstanding citizen. So I try to uphold the law 99.99% of the fucking time because I know that any fucking little thing is going to get me caught up in stupid shit. So this motherfucker brings over another woman. Well, she is like in her 60s, but she's, she dyes her hair, so she tries to look and act younger and whatever. She comes over. We don't even talk. He did not say anything to me whatsoever. He did not build up the courage to text me. He did not say anything to my face. He just went off and got another hoe from whatever fucking site. And I'm not a hoe, mind you, so no, like he got an actual hoe. And this woman comes over and they hang out all day. Like they came over with some food and whatever, and they had blaring music in the evening and whatnot. And, because he's into the the fucking DJ scene. So he's got the loud blaring music and the lights in the back like a fucking whatever you think you are. Okay. And that's why nobody likes you. It's the truth. If you're that much of a loser and you can't change, then nobody really likes you. So, anywho, he is, and I try to be so nice because I'm like, oh, you're just trying. But then in actuality, he was being so spiteful and vindictive. He brought over another woman. He told this woman, and when I interacted with her a couple times, I didn't mean to even talk to her. We went like an entire day without me interacting with anyone. I was in and out, just in this room, using the restroom, using the facilities. I hadn't showered for 4 days while I was first here because I was so nervous that he might come and try to touch me or do anything, so I wanted to be as repulsive as possible. That's how it is, pissing yourself in your bed and things like that. That's normal for me because it's, I have to keep myself from getting hurt. And so anyway, like I'm hanging out here and this dude comes in and out with his chick and whatever. He never said anything to me. Literally, he just cut all communication off to me. But he told the woman, okay, and I didn't find out this until yesterday. And I knew it was going on. I knew what he had brought her over for was just to fuck this girl, this woman. She's not a girl, she's a woman, an old lady. So he wanted to fuck this lady. And she ended up telling me yesterday when we got into like a verbal altercation about, it wasn't an altercation really. It was just like whatever. She was hyped up. She was on whatever drugs she was on. She was also going through like homelessness as well. So he had invited her over to stay for an undisclosed amount of time also. So she said, I just came over, he said that he'd pay me to clean and whatever and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, no, I know why he brought you over. And I said, and that's fine. Like, I have no issues with it as long as I'm safe, because I capture everything. I record everything. I told him prior, I said, if I die here, I said, don't violate my body because they'll know it was you. And it's the truth because I have everything, all my blood work. I try to keep everything tracked and traced for the government. So in the authorities, so that they understand where I'm coming from as the victim now, and that I shouldn't be the one charged with a bunch of fucking heinous activity when in actuality I'm just trying to survive. Don't get me caught up in stupid bullshit. I'm not a fucking nefarious individual. Keep away from me. So, what the fuck? Anyway, so this dude brings this woman over. Then, after about a day or so, I think he only spent like a night or so with her, whatnot, and they fucked. And then she even said, she was like, he couldn't even get it up. Yet he was getting a boner when I was telling him the night prior about my sexual abuse. Like I told him about the abuse I sustained, and he got a huge boner. And they're always so proud when they're fat as fuck. And they'll lean back so that you can see within their fucking whatever pants they're in. And he was in some nasty sweatpants, all nasty. And his boner's all sticking up. And of course I didn't make eye contact with it or him, because I knew this is what goes on around me like 24/7. I notice when guys get aroused. I know, because they're stupid. They can't hide it. They can't hide it physically, and they can't hide it, like, communicatively. So they're a fucking bunch of monsters. I don't know what is going on with the fucking universe that I have to deal with these barbaric buffoons. So anyway, we're sitting there, and I told him, whatever, I'm going to bed, because I was like, fuck this guy. And then all he wanted was to fuck, which my profile stated I'm not looking for anything sexual. So he knew he'd fucked up by inviting a girl that doesn't party to a house where he's obviously partying and inviting other bitches over, and they were partying and whatever. So I felt scared. I was like, okay, whatever. He told that woman, let's get so loud as we're fucking that it forces her to leave. That's the type of piece of shit person that this man was. He was trying to make it out to be like, oh, he was being helpful, and this is how, you help other individuals out, and like he was like, oh yeah, cool, like here's some shrooms, here's some weed, and we'll just be friends and whatever. No, I know what you really want beyond that. So please don't offer me things that I'm not going to repay you for. That's the truth. Like if it's an offering, if it's a gift, then we're even. There should be no other exchanges. So he brings this woman over, whatever. I don't know what exchanges they had made, something, their drug abuse and whatnot. I don't fucking know. But the fact of it was that he thought that I would either get jealous of it or force me to leave. I'm sorry, no. You must not know Leticia, but I've had to handle a lot of shit. And I've had to handle a lot of shit going in and out of facilities as well. And now I've gone to fucking jail for once, so I know if I gotta slit your fucking throat, I got to. Like, that's just gonna be how it is. Like, I don't know, you showed me that barbaric lifestyle, and I had to pick up on a few pieces. So I told him, even while we were sitting there, because we were watching a movie about something, and the girl didn't have a weapon around her, and I said, you dumb bitch, make sure you always have a weapon around you. And the guy, he heard me, and I'm just like, bro, like, you don't even know how much trauma I've sustained. I will literally fucking stab your eye out. Like, you don't even fucking realize. So, and I've taken things very calmly. But now that I'm fucking pregnant, my hormones are fucking raging. And if I saw those rapists again that forced me into being pregnant, I would literally cut their dicks off. Literally. Like, I'm not even fucking with you. Like, you would have to send me to prison for being so disgusting afterward, because I'm just acting out what should have happened the day that it happened. I should have been able to defend myself in hurting them because they hurt me. But people don't see that. They see the reaction as being demonic. They see the reaction as being, oh, she went too far. She chopped their dicks off and shoved them down their throats. I'm pretty sure God would forgive me for that. Because at this instance, I've been violated so many times by so many fucking perverts and tried to be violated by perverts that it's fucking hilarious. So this douchebag leaves. He left to go to fucking, prior to that, I get a phone call. So the second night she was here, I get a phone call. And he's like, hey, do you have a valid driver's license? And I was like, yeah, why? Because I'm like, I'm not going to fucking go buy him some shit or whatever. I really don't want to partake in doing anything crazy like that. So he's like, can you come pick me up? I was pulled over because of my lights and I don't have a valid driver's license, so I need a ride, blah, blah, blah. And she can drive my car back, whatever. So I talked to her. I was like, hey, Danielle, what's up? Like, do you want to go help this guy? And she was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So we went and we picked up his car and stuff. And he was like, no, I'm still going to drive to Little Rock. I have to drive to Little Rock this evening. Probably so he could try to actually get his rocks off finally. I don't fucking know. I don't really care. This guy's a fucking pervert. He's disgusting. His name is Jason, too, which is the name of one of the rapists that is probably the father of my child. And I made comment of that. I was like, Jason's, yeah, let me tell you. I already fucking know. So, this guy, he ends up going to Little Rock, and he leaves me and this woman in the house with each other for approximately 3 or 4 days. And she's cleaning like a fucking crazy woman, like cleaning everything. She cleaned everything from top to bottom, even got to the point where she started like cleaning the fucking pillows on the porch, like the decorative pillows on the porch. She was like scrubbing them, but she was like high on something. I don't know. She was just super fucked up and like continually moving, had pots of coffee going, and I didn't want to say anything bad about her. She didn't realize that she had stepped into whatever she had stepped into too. So when we started striking up conversation, She tried to lie to me at first and say, oh, no, I've known him for a while. No, bitch, I know you haven't known him for that long, and I know he just tried to fuck you, and that was it. She's like, you know, you don't know anything. She's like, he just ate me out, and that was it, because he couldn't get a hard on. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Just so you know, I'm not interested in him. I'm just here for the safe place to crash like you promised me. And you can't take that shit away, because I would literally call the police, and you'd have to owe me the gas money to get the fuck up here. Like, that's how it should be handled. If people aren't held to their word, then they're not held to any standard. You need to start reprimanding people individually like that. If they can't be honest with wholesome people that are victims, and I even posted on there, like, I don't need any more trauma, like, I've already sustained enough, PTSD. I am very transparent. You should not try to read through the words like I'm making or manipulating anything, because I'm fucking not. I'm like one of the only people in the goddamn world that would be overly honest and am, you know, what's the word? Incriminate myself in the process, because I'm just like, whatever. I just don't care. If you want to incriminate, that's what it is, I'm a criminal, fuck it. Whatever. Put me in jail for the rest of my life. Fuck it. Put me in jail. So, because that's what you want to do anyway. And the fucking talking about putting me in a psych ward for the rest of my fucking life because of the trauma. You allowed my mother to get to that goddamn point. Whoa. You people are insane. And you don't see the actual problems here on earth. You don't see the people that aren't seeking help. You don't see the people that aren't seeking therapy. And yet you take it out on me. I swear to Christ, if I have another interaction with a goddamn officer, I will literally flip the fuck out. If you talk down to me because you have a fucking badge, I swear to God, I will mark your fucking soul. And you will go straight to fucking hell on earth. So, anyway, like I've tried to explain to people, they're like, well, Leticia doesn't mean shit. She ain't got no powers, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sure. We'll keep thinking that. So, like I told people, if you jack off to me, I swear to God, Christ is going to fucking seep into your consciousness, and you're going to be destroying your own goddamn self soon enough. Don't fucking jack off to me. I am no one's woman. I am nobody's anything. I'm nobody's business. It doesn't matter if I put anything provocative up now, because this is me displaying my trauma. This is me exposing myself to its fullest so that I can share with the fucking world that I was not that bad prior. But you're making me bad. The world is making me turn into a fucking slut whore mongrel like everyone else. Addicted to this substance or that substance, or sugars even. Fuck you people. So, anyway, back to what had happened. Then finally me and her had struck up a conversation, and she was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. He said he would pay me. And then he said he wasn't going to pay her. And he also left his big-ass dog here. He's got like a 100-pound dog. And she is a nice dog, but she's very hyper and she's very playful. So he didn't say shit to me about taking care of his dog. He didn't say shit to her about taking care of his dog. She didn't even know where the dog food was. Thankfully, I noticed where the dog food was, and I fed the dog this entire time out of, courtesy, common courtesy. Or you would presume that there's common courtesy in the world, but a majority of the time people think courtesy means that they get to get something in return. No. If you're giving it away for free, then you shouldn't have anything in return. Sluts. So this slut, she comes over here and she's like, I don't know if she expected to have a relationship with this dude or what, but after a couple days, yesterday, I messaged him and I told him, I'm going to feed those steaks to the dog. And just so you know, she's brought over 2 different guys during the time I've been here. And I don't appreciate that, because I was told this was going to be a safe place. I didn't know that I'd have to be interacting with any more people. You know what I mean? He told me who was here. He told me he was alone. I didn't expect some random lady that he was fucking to come over. And then he just sort of like dumped her and whatever. And then the funny thing is that he texts me back, because I told him, I said, well, I'm going to feed the dogs. It was the first time I had talked to this bitch, this motherfucker, in like 4 or 5 days. And then finally he texts back, because I told him, I said, the dog ate a pair of headphones on your porch. And he was like, the first fucking thing he wanted to know was send me a picture of those headphones. And who left the dog out in order to get those headphones eaten? And I said, well, Danielle left the dog loose in that room overnight. I knew the dog was naughty, and I knew to put it away. So I told him about it, and the first fucking thing he says is, Danielle has got to go. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? Like, you literally use this woman, she cleaned your whole fucking house, and you're gonna mistreat her like that because you don't know how to communicate and you don't understand yourself well enough, so you take it out on others. And I just thought to myself, thank God I didn't do any of the fucking cleaning or anything. Thankfully, she got, she did all the laundry, she did the floors, whatever. I feel bad, yeah, because she was flipping out. But she put herself in that circumstance, not me. So all I have to do is sit back and laugh at the circumstance because I'm like, I saw this coming from the very beginning. Like, why do you think that you're important to someone that's a narcissist like that? If he lied to me, told me it was going to be a safe place and that we were going to hang out, this and that, I come over and he's some kind of crazy drug addict and this is some kind of fucking in and out halfway fucking house type bullshit, I don't know what to say. But then I even mentioned, like, I told her, I was like, well, I don't really feel comfortable with you bringing random men over either, because if you don't stay here, if there's no attachment, if there's no record of these things, I'm going to keep record somehow. There's going to be somebody's going to find out this piece of the story, because there's no fucking reason that I should have to keep my mouth shut over the things I fucking see. The same thing with my childhood growing up and whatever, and I tried to preach out, say, my dad was doing some crazy sexual stuff. He was doing this kind of crazy stuff to my sister and myself and my mom and all this and that, beating the shit out of her. Nobody stepped in to help us. They didn't care. We were mutts. We're mutts to the system. Majority of that, people aren't understanding yet that those mixed breeds, those mixed children are hyper intelligent, highly more like advanced than some of them because we're not inbred. So there's a huge difference there. Like, I know for a fact my family might have inbred things way back in their past, but that doesn't mean my parents were brother and sister whatsoever. Like, my mom's white, my dad's Mexican, straight from different continents, and they bred, and I get that I'm very, very blessed in that way to not have any fucking distortions or mutations. And then people are just like, you're just a bitch. Fuck you, yeah, don't care. So I was bringing food in and out, and I had all my stuff in the room, and this crazy woman was going so hardcore on the cleaning. When I left yesterday to go swimming and do all my stuff yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day prior. It was the day prior, on Saturday. When I had done that, she came into my room and like took the linens off my bed and shit. And I told her, I was like, I'm going to take care of that. Like, I'm going to clean up the things that I use. Like, and that's why I've been cleaning up the kitchen and this and that. And this bitch, like, I don't know if she's just so fucked up and she's just so jealous of, and she said, I don't get jealous. No, bitch, you do. Because you see that girls younger than you are getting more than what you ever got in your life. So, and I see it. I see a lot of times where it's just like a flicker of jealousy or a twinge of this and that, and people deny it. They deny their emotions. And I tell them, like, it's just hurting you in the long run to be dishonest with yourself. And then that leads to being dishonest with everyone else. People need therapy. They don't need drugs. They don't need this and that. They don't need fucking. They don't need to fornicate with everybody to get that connection to God. Like, you're insane. If you think that that's what you need, then you need to go wherever you need to go, away from the rest of us that are trying to live a peaceful and structured and untainted and, as peacefully harmonious as possible. Like, I'm trying so hard to just be a good person and to just do right by everything in the world around me. But it's very difficult because a majority of the time I get reprimanded for the tiny little things that I do as a reaction to the abuse. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm just trying to survive. And I'm trying to survive in a way because you won't just give me my things back. You won't give me my belongings back. You stole from me. The government stole from me because those officers stole from me. And then you're going to sit there and push it off on me like I've got to get a job. I've got to, you know, finance my this. No, if you cannot offer it to me, like I've stated prior, then this poor baby is just going to go to another home. And it's not a poor baby, because then they'll find out that I was such a loving and caring person, and they'll realize, holy shit, there's something wrong with the entire world to be taken away from such a loving and caring mommy. And I didn't do any kind of fucking hard drugs with my other daughter or anything like that. None of it. But the fact that psilocybin is in my system regardless, it doesn't really matter. Like, from prior, you know, people get knocked up when they're on crack, and when they're on meth, when they're drunk, you know, and the babies turn out okay. I mean, majority of the time, which is insane to me. But I need to get up and start my day. I have to try to get out of here either by this evening or like early morning. So I had already had plans to just try to sneak out and be gone by the time before this guy shows up, because I don't want to interact with him whatsoever or talk to him. The weirdest thing is there was never any key to this place either. So I was just like walking in and out and leaving it unlocked and like worrying about my safety the whole time. I shouldn't have to worry about these things. I shouldn't have to go to a fucking another shelter. I should have my own belongings, and I should have very nice things, because everything that was stolen from me, although, you know, the worst part about it, it had gotten destroyed through my years of neglect, some of it, but not all of it. There had been roaches in my house. There had been mice. And it was out of all the distress that I was living through. I couldn't even supply myself with the urge to get up and shower or brush my teeth. I was in such a state of denial and depression that my child could be taken in such a way by people that were actually the demons, you know, like actually were the lying, manipulative monsters. And yet no one saw it from my perspective. So my daughter's been allowed to be raised without me for 6 years now. And nobody has tried to correct this imbalance whatsoever. They tell me I've got to do it on my own. I've got to finance myself to put the court proceedings through. And then I've tried to beg people